This is the Eye for an Eye channel. Welcome to today's show. Some of you probably don't remember because I believe I did this video between multiple channels a couple of months ago about 23andMe being hacked, but there's an update on the 23andMe hacking, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is not to share your DNA with people. Now, you might say, well, I don't even understand why, because, of course, there's a hypnosis going on via these television shows like true crime, etc., where cases are being solved, cold cases from 50 years ago, all done by design. Everything they put out there has a meaning to it. And the subliminal messaging we see with those, the pushing of all these true crime shows isn't, oh, it's interesting, I want to watch it. It is two things. It is one, to want more surveillance, to want CCTVs everywhere, because people are asking for that now because cases are being solved because of footage of rings, etc. So they want people to have more security on their homes, thinking it's for their benefit. It's really for the government's benefit. And number two is the DNA, because they have this new type of technology where they can actually find out a killer based on the genetic code of a different family member and then start eliminating suspects, etc., based on that. People love it because they're like, oh, this guy's been getting away with it. Thankfully, we're able to. And of course, there's some truth to that being a good thing in the sense of capturing somebody out there who's very, very dangerous. But giving up your DNA is one of the worst things you could possibly do. Now, I've covered in the past how the Freemasons have their child identification programs where they're literally trying to get the DNA of young children. We've just seen the outbreak that occurred and how important it was to alter people's DNA codes. DNA is something we're going to hear more and more about because they want your DNA. They want to alter you, okay? It's called hacking humans. That's what this is about. So I'm going to play for you a clip. Now, 23andMe confirmed that they had hackers about a month ago or 2 months ago when I covered it. The story was that these hackers were going after a specific genetic code of these people called Ashkenazi. I don't know, who they could possibly be. But that was the story then. Now the story is that the hackers have supposedly hacked 6.9 million users' DNA, but they tell you what they're really hacking is, oh, well, they're finding out your address and your name because people are under this mind control that all these hacking things have to do with their bank account, with their their home address, etc. And again, this is a method that they're using to get people to eventually take the mark because you won't be able to be hacked as far as, well, they're going to tell you, I'm saying, you're not going to be able to have your name hacked and all your identity hacked, etc., because it's inside of you, but really what'll be hacked is you as a human being because they're going to hack your DNA. So here's the story of 23andMe. Keep in mind, 6.9 million users. You have your numerology there with your 6 and your 6, but 6.9 million users supposedly hacked.
Do you have 23andMe? They say your personal info of nearly 7 million people, that's about half of all their customers, has now been compromised in a data breach.
Now, the breach happened in early October. Hackers now have birth locations, profile pictures, and family names, and they have access to family tree information and potential relatives who have genetic matches. 23andMe says it's still in the process of notifying all of those affected by the breach and say you should update your password if you have a 23andMe account.
So you can sit there and you ask yourself, why would anybody want to hack a 23andMe? What are they getting from a 23andMe? They're getting your DNA. Now, why would a regular person want that? Well, they don't. They're preparing you because the government is obviously the ones hacking all this stuff. They've been using celebrities over the last decade or so, going on these TV shows like I've covered over and over again, telling you their ancestry. This is done by design. Jeff Daniels, etc. Of course, you can always hear their little stories about how they're connected to the witch trials. I mean, the stuff I've covered in the past, this is all done by design. They subliminally have convinced people to give and send in their DNA to these corporations, thinking that, oh, well, what would they want my DNA for? Well, all they want is your DNA because they eventually want to hack humans. You might remember this compilation of clips from Yuval and his buddy Klaus Schwab, etc., talking about hacking humans. Well, the only way they could hack a human being is by hacking your DNA. And when they hack your DNA, okay, everybody has their own specific, unique DNA. That's what people should be thinking about when they see these true crime type shows, right? And they go, oh, everyone's got their own DNA code, so they, it's completely to that person specifically. It's theirs only, and that's because of God. That's how God created us. We all have our own DNA. We're all our own individuals. They want to remove that. That's why one of the things they want to do, the ultimate thing they want to do, is be able to hack your genetic code. Why? Well, God created you in his image with your own specific identity, your own DNA. They want to be able to control you down to the point of your DNA, which is why I believe it ties in with the mark, because you will no longer be human. Thus, you'll no longer belong to God. You'll belong to the God of this world, the devil. He wants your DNA. Here's them talking about hacking humans.
The really big thing is hacking human beings. To hack human beings, you need a lot of biological knowledge, a lot of computing power, and especially a lot of data. If you have enough data about me and enough computing power and biological knowledge, you can hack my body, my brain, my life. You can reach a point when you know me better than I know myself. And once you reach that point, and we are very close to that point, then democracy, the free market as we have, and actually all political systems, also authoritarian regimes, we have no idea what happens once you pass that point. Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. So after 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are entering the era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. So does the data about my DNA, my brain, my body, my life, does it belong to me or to some corporation or to the government or perhaps to the human collective? Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
the
to the
vaccine
test, of course.
will help us, of course. It will make things, you know, more manageable. Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it, and that's what we want to do in Davos next year. So this fourth industrial revolution is, it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed.
So they want to hack human beings. They're obsessed with this. And how do they do this? Well, they try and they openly are talking about all this stuff with DNA, which makes people willingly submit their own DNA thinking that it's some innocent, wonderful thing that they're doing. The reality of the matter is that it's not good. It's not wonderful. It's not helpful. What you're really doing is you are giving them access to you. Now, there's other things we could tie into that with being able to frame you by having your DNA. There's lots of stuff you can go deep down, you know, a thought hole, or it's not really a rabbit hole, a thought hole, and think about all the stuff they could do with your DNA. But ultimately, by giving them this, you're giving them total control and access to you, right? And then they'll have the ability to hack human beings, as you heard them specifically say. So people have willingly been doing this stuff because they're so dumb. And I know some of you might have done that, and don't take it as an insult, okay? I've done stupid things before. We've all done stupid things, and I get it that people have done this not thinking this through, thinking, oh, you know, I'd love to know who my great-grandfather's great-uncle was, and was I related to so-and-so? You could be angry if you're angry about doing that. Be angry at this system. Be angry at these celebrities who have convinced you that this is something that's normal to do. Again, they put these shows out there to subliminally play with your mind to make you think that it's a good thing. So you're hearing like, oh, Julia Roberts is related to who, even though you shouldn't care. The truth of the matter is all the celebrities who go on those shows are all related to each other, okay? They don't tell you that, but they're all related to each other. They're all part of the same bloodline, right? They want to do that and convince you that you should do that because you might find out that you're related to Julia Roberts. And thus the zombies follow suit. They always think, oh, the government would never do it. That's a crazy conspiracy, right? And you got to love how the building number on 23andMe is 322. You know what I mean? You got your skull and bones right there. So they just found out the genetic testing company 23andMe announced that hackers access personal data, 0.1% of customers, about 14,000 individuals. The company also said that by accessing those accounts, hackers were able to access a significant number of files containing profile information about other users. But 23andMe would not say how many other users were impacted by the breach that the company initially disclosed in early October. As it turns out, there were a lot of other users who were victims of this data breach, 6.9 million affected individuals in total. An email sent to TechCrunch late Saturday, 23andMe spokesperson Katie Watson confirmed the hackers accessed the personal information of about 5.5 million people who opted in to 23andMe's DNA relatives feature, which allows customers to automatically share some of their data with others. Big mistake. The stolen data included the person's name, birth year, relationship label, the percentage of DNA shared with relatives, ancestry reports, and self-reported location, okay? And the people hacking it, that's what you have to understand. The people hacking it, they aren't really hacking it. The government runs 23andMe. The government runs Ancestry. Okay, the governments and the corporations are one and the same, right? We're in a communist society now. So let's just get that out of the way for people out there that think that these are, someone just came up with this idea. The governments run and control it. All of that DNA is going right to the government. Okay, they're telling you that it's hack. Why? Because eventually everyone's going to find out that all this stuff is out there in the open, but they're never going to tell you who's hacking it and who's doing these things and why they want these things, because they're never going to let you know that the government's the boogeyman who's doing all this stuff to you. So the thing they want to hack, the thing they want the most is your DNA. Okay? They want to be inside of you. That's why you hear all of this stuff. That's why we just had this whole outbreak occur, for those of you who are new to all this. Okay? I've been covering it for years. I've covered it for years before the outbreak occurred, about how important it was to have access to your genetic code, to be able to alter and change that. And that's what they just did. And now we're getting deeper into this, where we actually have people out there who aren't paying attention to these world rulers, these people who we think are just, oh, it's Yuval Harari. He's a great guy. Oh, and by the way, he's best buddies with Russell Brand, the truther. Give me a break, right? And they're out there talking about hacking human beings, and we're allowing them to freely exist in our society without arresting them for crimes against humanity. Why? Well, because they've dumbed us down, they've weakened us, they've softened us up, and they've got us obsessed with technology so much so that we don't think any of these people would ever use it for evil. They only use it for good, right? The good outweighs the bad. That's their motto as well. Your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds. That's the Baphomet for you, right? That's the duality they believe in. But the truth of the matter is there are no good deeds that these people are committing. Everything they're doing is for total control, including wanting and controlling and accessing your genetic code. So the 23andMe story continues. More and more people, you're going to hear this from all the other companies, just like all these fake hacking stories you'll hear out there. Again, the hacking stories are part of the formulated system as well. They want you to believe that all these people wearing hoodies are hiding and hacking people's information, and eventually the only safe thing to do will be to have everything embedded inside your body, because then there won't be hackers to hack your bank account, etc. Of course, they'll use these boogeymen as well to wipe out bank accounts. It's all done by design. Eventually, they're going to convince people that the best thing for them is to have this stuff embedded in their genetic code. And I believe fully that that is the mark, despite what some other people might believe. But I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.